I have our next guest is here with us. So I'm going to talk to Batman. You are such a fool. You know, if you ever become prime minister, there are so many videos, public videos of us, where people will say that I am totally disrespectful to you. Just saying. Because like, I'm being asked, there is a Batman waiting on backstage. Should I bring him in? Because obviously you did not have your camera on. So I said, let me ask my next guest. Gary, wow, I feel like this show has gone. I mean, I don't know, it might go viral. I have no idea. I don't know if you were sitting on all of this. Like Kurt could have give me some warning. Maybe I could have had Mr. Ramada ask him to join us or something. But thanks, given the fact that you are on my show so often, y'all real keep secrets good. Just saying, meeting for months now, have name and thing, have policy documents and thing. And I'm so I just said it to Kurt the same way. I mean, Hope really might be the best name, but I feel energized by what Mr. Hamel-Smith has said today. I really, really do. In fact, I have a question from the audience, and the question says, how can ordinary people like me be part of regular dialogues? Is there a meeting area? My phone, my personal phone, and it's just so weird because today we shared the live on my personal page, which I tend, I always forget, I never do and whatnot. And my phone is blowing up. People are excited. They are so excited by the news that, oh, wow, a conversation is happening. The conversation has been happening. It's been happening regularly and seems to be at a pretty developed stage. And now hearing the news that Mr. Prakash Ramada has steps back in. I mean, it's like if I could do cartwheels on air, I would. I'm speechless, Gary. Tie this up for me before Kyle comes on, because we do have to get to the boring business of the Attorney General and the comedy fest that is PNM. But it's funny because I shared the video with the Attorney General yesterday, and my head is like cut off with this Power 102 thing. Because this whole show is TikTok worthy. Y'all need to cut it up and all these different breaking news. But anyways, I shared the video yesterday. I know you're looking out because you have to go and play football. Just give me 5 minutes now. I shared the whole comedy fest yesterday, and I said, what is worse than this comedy fest is the fact that on the ground, constantly, we still hear, we don't want PNM, but we don't want UNC. And that really is a very frustrating space to be in. Because if we do not present the citizens, the nation, with a viable alternative, then we're looking at a third year of PNM. And I think I'm going to have to consider migrating if that's the case. And that is where we're at. There is a real worry that we are looking at a third term for PNM simply because the UNC does not have their house in order. And it would have appeared up until today that there was nothing on the horizon. We would just have 1,000 names on the ballot and everybody gets a 20 here, 20 there. I'm so, so, so happy, Gary. I'm so happy. So one, answer the question. Now I'm finished babbling. You have a wife. I'm sure you understand what happens when we get excited. We just go on and on and on. But I hope that I'm conveying the excitement that I'm getting from my phone right now that is blowing up. And as I said, people are asking, how can they get involved? That's the question that everyone's asking right now. How can they get involved? I do hope that Michaela Pandey can be involved. I want to ask you, I'm going to ask you a hard question, not so hard, but please tell me that Philip Alexander was not invited to the table, please.
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon. So, what has transpired is again, let your heart not be bothered. We have this. We understood exactly what you said, Marcia. That for the last UNC has been in existence for 36 years. They have never won a general election or an election on their own in a three-horse race. Anytime there's a third party or third parties, as insignificant as Ramesh Maharaj, his Team Unity party was, it he got 388 votes in Tunapuna, and that cost the UNC the government from 1961 to 1818. That is how powerful and important that bridge constituency is. But we are not here to split votes. We are here to try to provide an opportunity for the floating voters, the marginal voters, the bridge constituency, the knife and fork, whatever they call us, all sort of different names. What we do decides the outcome of the election. And then when we looked at the individuals who have any leadership framework now, we're talking about a previous Senate president, a previous minister of national security and security advisor, now someone who was a previous minister of legal affairs and probably one of the most respected politicians you have in the country. And there are others as well, union movements, NGOs. So this is not just about political parties. This is a framework towards several different bodies and organizations coming together, not to beat the PNM, but with a cohesive objective to work together to transform Trinidad and Tobago. What is binding us is that transformational roadmap we have towards good governance, and that is what is going to make it work. What we saw, unfortunately, with the UNC was an attempt similar to 2010. Barry Padarat calls people turn up, and then he tried to direct them to stand up and line up for a photo op. The floating voters, they're not going to buy into that. They want to believe and know for a fact that they are going to be properly represented. So we are not here to make life difficult for UNC or anybody else. We are not here to just give them the votes of the bridge constituency to get them into government. I think my personal view is I do not think the country wants a UNC government. They would like that bridge constituency would like to be part of a government. That cannot happen if UNC demands that they have the 19 seats they presently have, and then they want the 8 marginals. Then they will do exactly what they did to the COP in 2010. So we have learned from our mistakes. Kirk Sinnett has proven to be a real patriot and a warrior. And I'm really glad Kirk has finally come out to express and expose to the country the type of patriot he has been to Trinidad and Tobago. I kept saying, I say, Kurt, let the country be aware. I mean, whether it is people in politics, whether it is you're in the military or legal, whether you're involved with law or whatever, that man actually, I think there were a couple CSC games and Pan Am games. I actually was on with the contingent with Kirk. So I know him well. It has been an honor to be on the political battlefield with him. I'm not winning no ring with him. I think we are on the right track.
Gary thinks he cannot beat.
I wouldn't know ring with Cook, so that I could go on a firing range with him, but not a boxing ring. And so what the next step is?
But Gary, that speaks to the type of people that are on this table.
Correct.
Because we have a lot of persons who are very well suited for the background, and they're probably better suited for the background, but are insistent on being in the media, being in the forefront, being, you know. And so it does speak to the humility of the leadership that is at that table right now, that, you know, we have to beg him to come and let people know the work that he is doing behind the scenes. It also speaks to the fact that, you know, we didn't hear any kind of bacchanal in the COP. He came, he made an announcement. There was obviously meetings and whatnot. And I'm assuming that there was something that made you guys decide, Kurt, that Mr. Ramada would have been the better person for this particular job going into 2025. And kudos to you. You know, and Mr. Hamel-Smith would have said in his interview that this table, this PAN table, is about persons putting the country first, not putting their agenda first, not putting their personality first, not putting their needs first, but looking at what does the country need at this point in our history to stop the downward decline. and I can't say enough. Kurt, thank you very much. Gary, thank you very much. I don't have Mr. Hammersmith here, but I told him thank you because he's been around for a long time, and to consistently serve Trinidad and Tobago when there are people who say, why you waste your time? Why you waste your time? And Gary, very much like you, I mean, Timothy Hammersmith can build a life abroad. He can easily migrate and just say, done with it, and take his wonderful family and grandchildren and just go. He can, and so there is a real heartfelt thank you that I am saying on behalf of those who have said previously that we ain't voting and come 2025. I didn't even, I said, I'm not even offering myself for service because what am I going to do? Tohu line. Line to toe,
But Basha, put into your other question before we run off.
Yes.
There's one thing, however, we are not to say that our noses will be in the air, but we are very selective to ensure we have a brand that will prevent of the anything in the future that we would have seen of persons who do not have the country at heart. I am speaking about we are not in any way going to have persons who are just involved in demonizing individuals, attacking, destroying, discrediting. When you hear an individual after a lady has been burned trying to protect her children, and 24 hours later you hear him saying they should all burn with venom, and then attacking a female because she was in grief over her friend being killed and mocking how she is screaming. That is not the type of politics we want. So that is the only concern that I'm seeing with the UNC right now. I
don't know if you read the story, but the opposition leader is quoted as saying, while she does not endorse the statements of the political leader of the PEP, she does not see it affecting their relationship because she needs all hands on deck. And I have said that there are some hands that we simply do not need on deck. That is a position of desperation. I know you both, you men are sports or athletes. Champions do not just take any and everybody. Good teams, you have to try out. And I mean, your son, Gary, I'm sure you understand that. You have to try out. So it can't be a situation where any raggedy doll from anywhere, speaking anyhow, feeling anyhow, having any vision, any mission, anything can be on deck just because all hands? Absolutely not. And the comments, which was, again, hopeful that I could see that from Trinidad and Tobago, the comments under that news story said, if you really did not appreciate his comments, then you would sever ties. Because there has to be a way of engagement. You have to be willing to say, this is our brand. This is how we engage with the public. This is what we stand for, and we will accept nothing less.
You see, if it was isolated, but that is the nature of the beast. You can't, and I will say political allies, if it is that you judge the persons by the people who will be around you. Show me your political allies and I'll tell you who you are. You can't be a man or a woman and you find a potong or pit bull and you put him on a leash and he bites people and then you say, well, it wasn't me. You have to take ownership and responsibility because you have brought him into your coalition of interests. And again, by her making that comment, so if thank God, if it is that Bin Laden or Ayatollah or Hitler was still alive and they were interested to join the coalition, you'll bring them in because you need all hands on deck. For every one vote he may bring in, you're going to lose 1,000. I have been bombarded with those floating voters, those independent thinkers who are saying, anytime people like that are around, Gary, do not call us to come on board. But again, sometimes people want individuals like that to be a pit bull to do the nastiest things on your behalf. That is not the type of politics we want. That is not the type of politics we're looking for.
I'm so happy to hear. Timothy Hammersmith did say that you guys tried to reach out to Michaela, and thus far have been unsuccessful. Can you confirm that?
Well, hasn't been not by myself, but I think others may have. I don't think that that she may be interested. But what I'm also stating is that we shouldn't go around begging. People will be fully aware of what we are doing, And if it is you're interested, give us a call. And we are building this to the point that this is going to be a very powerful alliance. As I said, what caused the collapse of 2010 to 2015 was UNC 21 seats, and that was not a coalition government. A coalition government is when you have different political parties that have to unite to get the majority in parliament. The UNC had 21. It was a UNC government supported by the 6 UP seats. So they didn't need
proportional representation.
Correct. So
yes.
we are going to make sure that this thing is cemented and binded, and it is not a case of bringing people together, get Barry to line up people and do a photo op. That's not a coalition of interest.
Without a media release at 3 p.m. and then remember, you need to call persons to come for the photo op.
But let me quickly add, Marsha, what I again find very interesting, because I am here willing to serve my country in any form or fashion. But Kamala Prasad-Bissessar did say that the NTA and the UNC, we have the same direction, but she's saying that she's just concerned about me making comments about Julian John. Understandable, because you're defending your deputy political leader. But my comment was, I am concerned that she continues to believe that the UNC can win alone. And by her doing that, it is causing the UNC to go in the wrong direction, because the UNC has never been able to win alone in 36 years in a 3-horse race. And that was deemed as being unacceptable. But now Kamala Prasad-Bissessar has done exactly what I was saying about Julian John. So you're upset with me for speaking the truth. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you have somebody next to you who has attacked you from Canal Kong, from saying all sorts of different things about you and your party every day for the last year, inclusive of stating he will do everything in his power to make sure you never get in government. And sometimes people do not understand Trojan horses. They should just take a read and understand what a Trojan horse is, and they will understand exactly why such individuals are trying to infiltrate into the UNC. And then 2 weeks before the general election, you're going to hear exactly what the plan was.
Well, I have asked Philip Alexander publicly, and persons, you know that he is not someone I am used to speaking about. I don't generally take him on, but because you are now aligned with the opposition leader, I consider that you can threaten our government in waiting. You can threaten the future of our country. You're no longer just, you could be in our Senate, you could be in our parliament, you can destabilize, and you use the right word, a Trojan horse. And I have asked Philip Alexander publicly. In fact, I sent him a voice note asking him to come on air. Let me interview him. He always says he wouldn't do a pre-recording. I said, it's live. I'm in Trinidad, not pre-recording. But, he backtracks.
He will never come. The biggest quarter bullies. He will never come. He will never come. He will never debate with me. He will always find an excuse. That is the way he is, because his power is behind a camera to say the nastiest things about people. And then when you challenge them, he will block you, he will duck you, because he can't debate. What he's good at is
to let you. But I have also asked him to be transparent and accountable. I have asked him if he has had meetings with a senior PNM minister. It's a yes or no question. And to hear you speak about this Trojan horse.
Yeah, but Marsha, in hindsight, I don't think he will really answer that question.
I understand in hindsight.
What did I say?
Nothing at all. I'm laughing at nothing.
Okay.
So I don't, David is my next guest here. I don't want to take away. We did that with Kurt, and I want to make sure. Is Kyle there?
No, he is not as yet.
So now that so Gary is ready to leave. And y'all are just gonna leave me by myself. Wait, do I have any other questions? Let me make sure. Okay, really? Okay, no, I don't have.
You don't have any more questions for me, right?
I have one more. I actually have one more statement. This statement is actually coming from a media personality. I won't call names, but someone from the Newsday is tuned in and saying, once y'all do join UNC.
Okay, so let me answer that. Now, I have been bombarded with those as well, but let me clarify again. Everywhere I go, I went to Tobago, Juve, took about 500 photos, and everything you got. Gary, we wanted to come back as security minister, as commissioner. Don't join the UNC, join the PNM, join with the UNC. Everyone has an opinion, but I deal with the data, and this is fact. The not joining with the UNC, we have seen what has happened with those bridge constituency parties in 1981 with the ONR, 91,000 votes, it caused the PNM to win by a larger margin. 1991, the NAR, of which Kamala Persad-Bissessar was part of. So she was part of a pop-up party, by the way, that I think she may have lost the deposit even. And it caused the PNM from a 33-3 to come back to getting government, and then 2007. So even if it is that we're there, what is it? Would you prefer for us to take the chance and have a repeat of 81, 91, and 2007, or be guaranteed that persons and that will be in the political parties of Hope, COP, and NTA would be part of the next government to make this a better country? Are you willing to risk it?
You want my opinion?
Yes, please.
Well, one, I think that the numbers may be bigger than 2007.
It is. It increases.
You're quite correct.
Yeah, I think that the UNC might be far weaker than 2007.
Yes.
So personally, but we'll see what the data says. I think, and I'm telling you, maybe the data says that now, but I think just by what I'm seeing coming through to my phone with my small following, I mean, can you imagine this news going on a front page headline? I am suggesting to you that this becomes PAN versus UNC and PNM in one. The alliance is actually PNM/UNC versus PAN. It is old politics versus new politics. That is my take on it. I do believe that it's not a three-horse race. I think what you're looking at is actually a NAR-UNC situation where Kamala Persad-Bissessar said, no, thank you, I will go with NAR. I do not believe that UNC can win anything. And then, she loses to UNC. Am I willing to risk a third PNM term? I am not sure, to be honest. But I don't think the country wants any alliance that is out of just beating the PNM. Yeah.
You're correct about that.
Anytime we sense that,
Gentle people, can I ask a question? There are lots of people like me who sit on the fence. We are the deciding factor in any election. All right, we've been hearing a lot of bantering from the new parties. We are hearing what the UNC has to say. We are hearing what the PNM has to say. How can you guys convince someone like me or people like me to vote? Because people like me, I'm seeing it all on the social media pages and all of that they're not comfortable with what is happening now. And we are very interested in what new politics, as Marsha said, has to offer. Now, how are you guys going to convince me with all the bantering around?
You want to take that, or you want me to answer?
Gary, you answer me, man.
Okay, sure. And it's straightforward. The UNC and the PNM has 200,000 supporters, regardless of what. Their political leader can go downtown and shoot someone in cold blood. They're going to vote blindly. That is how it is. We have to accept it. However, so they start off with a 200,000 head start, but there are 100 to 150,000, and it may have increased because no one under the age of 35 ever had a third choice because the last time you had that opportunity was 17 years ago. So anyone from 18 to 35 who's eligible to vote this time around never had a third choice. And most of the time, it has been younger persons where mommy and daddy saying this is a PNM or UNC house, and the children are now saying, don't get tied up. In fact, they educate their parents now to say that doesn't make sense. You could be like me and foolishly support Manchester United till you die and suffer. But you could do it with a sporting team. You don't do it with politics where your lives will be at stake. What we are doing is not putting the hatred and the bitterness or the animosity. We are showing policies, plans, program, the political will. And those are the things the floating voters, persons like your good self. So I'll give you a simple example in 15 seconds. The most critical concern of the country right now is national security. You are concerned that your wife could be killed, your daughter could be kidnapped, your son could be robbed. Which of the three you feel will be the better option to make you safer? The PNM and the UNC combined with all of their experts don't have 5% of what we have to be able to contribute. We have the track record. We are showing what we can do. So we are showing that we can make Trinidad and Tobago safe again. So you want to make your family safer. You want to secure your assets. That should be your focus, not a PNM till I die and I'm born at UNC and I'm going to die at UNC. So that's just one simple example. And we're going to do the same thing to health, education, the economy, sport. And we are showing these policies how it is to be done. Because not by somebody just coming up with ideas. Like an example, let me just quickly add, the person who Kamala says she's still in an alliance. He has never held a post. He has never achieved anything. He has never performed. But what he does is state ideas because he could sell ice to the Eskimos. But you need to look at persons such as Timothy Hamel-Smith, Prakash Ramadar, myself, and others who have a track record of performance and delivery. And again, with integrity, we intend to show to the country that we can be able to make this country a better country.
David, I'm starting my poll, David. Because Gary has already said that PAN will not be reaching out to the UNC. PAN is going to be building. The door is open to the UNC, which is a real power move, by the way. They ain't going cap in hand to no UNC. I love it already. But David, let me ask, poll. This is my poll, and I'm going to do my poll. Should PAN join with the UNC?
No.
First, no. Now because I have another question, so I'm gonna bring that from this is coming from the YouTube, but I have my question. I don't think this. Well, I have a comment before the question. I don't think Michaela Pandey and the UNC and Kamala Persad-Bissessor, not UNC. I don't think Michaela and Kamala will work together. That's one. Do you agree with that? Yes or no?
Agreed.
Right. Good. So I also think that Michaela has the potential to pull some of UNC's 200,000. Agreed or don't agree?
Agreed also.
So if you had to choose, Gary, it's very hypothetical because at the end of the day, neither of them have reached out, right? And in fact, Mr. Hamel-Smith did say that he did reach out and he was unable to get her at the table. But I think headline news tomorrow will be this, and I think we will see a wave of support. And you know the saying, build it and they shall come. So I am hoping that Michaela Pandey will heed the call to join the table. Will you choose, or who do you think, David, that PAN should choose, Michaela or Kamala?
Without a doubt, Michaela.
So we have our polls, right? I'm going to get that poll going, and so that Gary can have data going forward. Here's a next question. What about the rumor that Quito is backing down and there would be a new political leader for the PNM? How do you all think this plays into the political arena for next year? This is actually a young person who's very interested in politics. Gary.
Yeah, well, again, it will be a brilliant move on their part. I think the country looks at the PNM and say, listen, Heinz scratch, Imbert scratch Keith. Yeah, I could probably look to swing and give them a second chance if I look at who's on the other side. That is possible. But with us coming in there, people are going to remember that after 10 years of suffering, 10 years, it has been, I think it's been the worst government this country has ever seen over the last 5 years. So just remove it. It's like you have a football side, you have 22 people, you have 11 and 11 on the bench, and you drop 3. You're still going to get another, you still have 19 that's still going to be there on that football team, even though you take away 1 or 2.
And the coach in the background that's really pulling the strings.
Correct. So I don't think the country is going to buy into that. It's not that they want to PNM removed because of their hatred for Keith Rowley, but they are fed up of the failure. And if they see that we can provide something to give to them, and so it's not, I think the UNC's expectation was that the country hates the PNM so much they will vote them out and vote for the UNC. Not going to happen. That corridor will never vote for the UNC.
Has not worked for us, Gary. We need to mature as a country. We need to vote in. You know, and Timothy Hamel-Smith said that today. We need to stop. It's not a failure issue. It's a success issue. You know, so we need to this culture of voting out. We fed up here, so we go just take the lesser of 2 evils. This athlete's mentality. Oh my gosh, we need to move away from that. We need somebody that we can vote in, that we can see your policies. We can, you know, as I said, you've breathed some fresh air, some hope into the country today. I do hope that the media houses will pick this up, maybe call you directly for their own quotations, and hopefully we could see it on the front page news tomorrow. Hopefully CNC3 could carry it as a poll, because I know
you got the exclusive about the new leadership of the GOP.
Yes, I did. I got some breaking news today. I don't think Pan was out there before today either.
No, we kept that inside because we were trying to think of a name, because what we don't want to do is to confuse the country. We do not know if going into the election, if different political parties will continue to keep their symbol going into their constituencies. The NT, I mean, we already have pushed forward with about 3, and I think that's where the UNC got a little upset. But I was you don't want to talk to me? If you don't appreciate what I bring to the table, I'm not going to eat with you. And I started moving forward and letting them know, Gary Griffith is going up for St. Joseph. You don't have a snowball chance in hell to win St. Joseph if I'm going up for St. Joseph. Dr. Kevin Saranic, San Fernando West, same thing. Christina Walu, Sangre Grande. So the 3 seats that are
screening for Sangre Grande today, actually.
Yeah. So you don't want to work with us? Okay, well, let's rumble.
Yeah, which is fine, which is fair. You have to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, Gary, so I'm going off on the Batmobile to go and play football now.
Yes, no problem. Tell Mark hello for me.
Well, okay.
Bye. Thanks so much, Batman.